Thank you. Well, thanks, George. You know, to be presented this award by George is an honor, indeed, it's a real honor. You know, George, you've done so much. You're a real hero to me. You've done so much to help the world, to make it a fairer place, a more transparent place. And what I really admire is that you were never deterred when attacked by dubious political things that are happening more and more these days. And yeah, no, really, it's important. And I'll tell you why it's so important to me. And you won't remember this, but many years ago, you gave me some really good advice. I came to you about 10 or so years ago, and you basically, and when I was facing similar dubious political attacks myself, and you said, you know, Frank, if you think that the world is going to thank you and pat you on the back for giving away your money, think again. And you're not kidding. It's true. But you know, the thing is that whenever I have to endure this sort of political heat, I think of George, and I think, you know, just keep doing the right thing. You know, just keep doing the right thing, and everything's going to be okay. I want one acknowledgement tonight that I need to make. Ahmed Khan. Ahmed, please stand up. Please stand up. If it weren't for Ahmed and his relentless pestering about 3 years ago, I would have never gotten involved in the refugee issue. But he was relentless, a real pain. And he finally convinced me to make that trip to Lesbos that changed my life. And it was the first night I got there, it changed my life. And I've now been immersed in the refugee issues on many levels for the last 3 years. By the way, one thing tonight, after Prince Zaid spoke, he leans over to me and said, boy, that was a great speech. He set a real high bar. I don't know how you're going to follow that. And he's been saying that all night long. You know, this award is great, and I really appreciate it. But what I want to talk about tonight is Crisis Group. If anybody deserves an award, it's this organization. And I'm going to pick up where Rob left off. I don't need to say, but you know, what the work this organization does is unparalleled. And of all of my philanthropic efforts, and I'm involved in a lot of different things, this is simply the most important. And it's important because without peace and stability, you know, dealing with things like poverty and education and health and even conducting business anywhere in the world is pointless. You have to have peace. And this is one of the very few organizations, and in my mind, it is the best organization to try and prevent conflict and end conflicts. And that should seem obvious, but I think a lot of times our work is underappreciated. And when you think about it in these terms, we're a $20 million a year organization. That's what it takes to run Crisis Group globally, $20 million. Preventing just one conflict that could be prevented can run into the billions, and in some cases, trillions of dollars. So think about it in those terms. Think about the math. And it's just obvious that this organization deserves the help that it sometimes doesn't get. It's always been a struggle for us, and we are very appreciative of any support that we can get. You know, the sad reality is this, that a lot of politicians in countries that have the power to intervene, unless it's in their self-interest, won't intervene, and especially if it's a conflict that's far, far away, unless there's public outrage at home. And I think if we as Crisis Group can shine a light and rig the alarm bells a little bit louder than we have been in the past, and I think that we are revising our communication strategy, but I think even the people in this room can all participate in getting the word out when we publish a report and when we're ringing the alarm bell, and say like a situation like Yemen today, which is a horrific situation, and we have a voice there, and if we express that voice a little bit louder, I think, you know, it will help, and perhaps, just perhaps, it will generate a bit of outrage that so many people are suffering. You know, Mark Twain once said that it's not worthwhile trying to prevent history from repeating itself, because man's character will make that an impossible task. And I think if you just think of Crisis Group as buying a bit of insurance against the inevitability of man's character, that's what we should all do. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you.